Hi, this is Pixeltests and welcome to another Excel lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to be discussing how to highlight the minimum and maximum value and min-max charts. A highlight min-max chart in Excel is actually a line chart with some modifications made to the source data using formulas, as you can see in these two columns, to highlight the minimum and maximum at a point on the line chart. So these two columns are creating data sets for us to plot, and then those data sets are the ones that have been highlighted. And if you just look at the chart on its own, then we just have two highlighted points on a line chart. But the actual backbone are these two columns here, which I'll get to very soon. So let's start with our data here. We have a company's data set with their 7 salesmen and their sales amount made in a month. So let's start by just plotting this data in a simple line chart. And we'll keep this here for now. We have our data visualization of this data here. Very simple. Now let's create these two more columns. This would be our highlight max and our highlight min. So let's begin with our maximum column. How we're going to add our data into this is we'll start by an if statement. So we'll type equal to if. Now, what is our logical test? What cell are we testing for this data? We'll be testing the cell corresponding in sales. So for C2, it will be B2. And what we're testing is if it's equal to the maximum value in our entire sales data set. So from B2 to B8. So what do? We test it if this cell is equal to the maximum value in this entire data set. And if that is true, then our value will be just this cell. And if it's false, then for now, let's just put it as 0. And as you can see, Pranav does not have the highest sales. He does not have the maximum sale in this entire data set. And so our formula is just returning 0. Now we can't simply click this and drag it all the way down just yet, because one thing with formulas in Excel is when you drag this down, each of these values, so this B2, this max B2 to B8, and this other B2 again, they will all go down one row, which means that in the next formula, this B2 will be B3, this max will be B3 to B9, and this will be B3 again. So obviously there's no problem for this B2 becoming B3 because that's exactly what we want. That's what we want to test. But our sales data, its position is not changing, which means that we need to make this a constant. So we'll select this and press F4 and then hit enter. So now if I press F2 to edit, we can see that the range for our maximum has now been fixed. So now we can drag this and see that our maximum value in this data set is 8315. If I changed Rohit sales, for example, to 9,000, you can see that now this changes and our max value is now 9,000. So this value is 9,000. Let me press Ctrl Z to undo. Now we can do the same thing for highlight min, but just have one change. So if you can figure out what this change is, then I'll give you 10 seconds. Go to the comment section right now and type what you think it is. So now that you're back, let me quickly type this formula, which will be equal to if B2 is equal to the minimum in B2 to B8, then return B2 as return 0. And of course, F2 to edit, this has to be a constant. Now I can drag this down and we can see our minimum value is 2143, which is Rohit sales. And just like with this max, if I reduce Daksh to 1000, for example, Then now our min is 1000. Let me undo.
And remember, if you want to grow your career fast, sign up for our masterclass and course in the description below. It has exclusive and premium content with thousands of other students and professionals. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.
So now our next step, now that we have our maximum and our minimum values, is we'll select this chart and we're going to grab this blue square on the bottom right of sales and drag this to cover highlight max and highlight min as well to add them to this chart. So now this is the highlight min and this is our highlight max. But as you can see, there's this line coming on the bottom and it's connecting and making these triangles instead of just having points on the line. And that's because we have these values as 0 and this one value. So for highlight min, for example, these are all 0 and the one value that's different is 2143. So from Neha's 0, it goes to Rohit's 2143 and then comes back down to Arushi's 0 and continues being 0. So we need to remove this 0 from this data set. We can also try just making this an empty value by doing double quotations. So now the cell is empty and let me drag this down again. Do the same thing for this one, F2 to edit. Make this double quotations. And if I try that, you can see that it's still not fixing my problem because technically these are still points showing on the graph. So what we're instead going to do is we're going to edit it and use the NA function, which returns the error value hashtag NA value not available. So for that, we just have to type NA and then open bracket and close bracket. And now we're getting the NA error. I'll do the same thing for highlight min. And now you can see that those lines aren't coming. The next thing we want to do is to select this, go to chart design and change the chart type to a combo chart. We already have a video of column charts on this channel, so make sure you check that out after this video. So we want our sales to continue to just be a line chart, but our highlight max and highlight min will be a line with markers, which is the fourth option under line. And now let's hit OK. And now we can see we're getting these two small markers in our highlight min and highlight max. So this is our max and this is our minimum value in this entire line chart. So that's great. We are one step closer to getting our chart. The next step is to change the design of these points. So let's select this. I'll select just the minimum value first. Right click and go to Format Data Series. And under that, let's go to Fill and Line. For line, we select No Line. And under Markers, we can change the color of this. So since this is our minimum value, I'll make it a red. I also don't want a border around the marker. We can also go to Marker Options and increase the size. I'll make it 10, for example. Let me do the same for this maximum value. I'll change the color to a green. Remove the border and change marker options to built-in and set this to 10. So there we go. Now we have two markers on this entire chart. Another thing we would like to do is to add labels underneath and above these markers. So how we're going to do that is I'll select first this minimum wala marker, go to chart design, add chart element, data labels, and I'll have it be below. And do the same thing for this highlight maximum. Select it, go to add chart element, data labels, but this time make it be above. And now we know the value of these markers. Now our next step is to have the name of the salesman included next to the value. So to do that, we'll select the value, right click, go to Format Data Label, and we'll select Category Name. So now the name of the salesman is coming next to the value. Select the same thing for the maximum, Category Name. And that is our simple highlighted min-max chart. You can also make this look a little prettier by selecting it and choosing a design that you would like. I like going for this third one here, style 3. When you do that, the marker may disappear, so you would have to try and find the marker, format the data series, and change it again. Do the same thing for this one. Just make this built-in. Change the color to green. Make this no line. I'll also have to change this back to a circle. And there we go. That's our completed highlight min-max chart in Excel. Thank you for watching.
And remember, if you want to grow your career fast, sign up for our masterclass and course in the description below. It has exclusive and premium content with thousands of other students and professionals. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.